All right. So, yeah. So what are we and who do we do? So there's 24 undergraduate students maximum, 8 students per social class, and then 3 social classes. So that's currently seniors, juniors, and sophomores. And then that kind of works because of our selections process starting kind of late in the term. So when we do new selections, then we will incorporate freshmen. At that time, our current seniors will step down. So then that's kind of how that goes. And we will transition to being 2025, 2026, and 2027.
So we are student run, and our tradition of student self-governance is very important to us. Not only is it, it's fun for students to be involved when we're interacting with other students, but it offers a really unique perspective because we know what it's like to be students. We know the stressors that current college students are dealing with. We know like the generational things that some faculty members might not be as familiar with. So it's really important to us that we can continue to be student run. That being said, we do get advising from the office that we're in, CVRP, which is Community Values and Restorative Practices at the bottom. So yeah, this is their office, and some of their full-time staff members, their director and assistant director, kind of offer us some guidance, but we do preserve the tradition of being student-led. And like Sam said, we are a bunch of different experiences, strengths, majors, stuff like that. So yeah.
So some of the things that we do, we uphold the honor code. So I'm sure that all of you probably remember standing in Wren Courtyard. So that's kind of one of our big things. Beyond that, we have the very nebulous and vague mission of protecting the community of trust, which basically means that we investigate potential violations, but it also means in a larger sense that we kind of work to prevent violations from occurring in the first place. So that's why we try to plan initiatives like Values Week, like tabling and outreach sessions. And then so it's a bit more than just dealing with violations. We also try to work to make sure that violations don't kind of occur. We view that as kind of part of upholding the honor code. And then there's within investigating potential violations, there's a good number of things that entails. Some of them are new that we've started to introduce this year, but basically, so some of them might be, for example, interviewing witnesses and respondents. Respondents, just by the way, are people who have been reported for a violation. Of course, everybody enjoys the presumption of innocence. We compile reports. We hold formal panel proceedings, which determine, whether someone has violated the code or not. We assign educational measures, and then we have some new things as well.
So part of our more restorative mission is offering alternative resolution pathways that aren't the traditional panel. So this is our panel room, which is where we have panels. You probably noticed when you came in, it's kind of intimidating to be, sitting in front of the council like this. And we still do panel proceedings, but we've also started incorporating things like informal resolutions, which is one of our alternative means of resolution. So basically, that is just a different way of resolving a case. We don't need to really get super in depth about that today, but just know that the role of a council member is kind of evolving as we try to incorporate more things like restorative justice into our work. So it's not really as much like the honor codes that you've heard of back in the day where we wear robes and have gavels and stuff. We're really trying to kind of level with students in this time. So yeah, we're incorporating different ways to still help students align their values with the community of trust while still being less kind of adversarial.
Yeah. We still do hold formal panel proceedings, all that stuff. That still happens. And then but increasingly more and more of our cases are being resolved through other pathways that, we can go that, again, we can talk about a little bit later, like informal resolution or early resolution. And then the general mindset shift has been that thankfully, since very few to almost no people ever wind up expelled, then presumably everyone who goes through the honor process will be back on campus at some point. The idea is kind of not to, hand them the Treaty of Versailles in here. I know there's a history major among one of you, so I think you'll get the reference. But basically the idea is not to have people come out of the process feeling like harsh and bittered, basically feeling like the only lesson I learned from all of this is to be smarter in how I'm cheating next time. Because that's not really what we're trying to do. What we're trying to kind of do is give everyone that opportunity to essentially, to kind of grow, reflect, evolve and mature as a person, essentially in the hopes that that will be a more reliable solution to making sure that they don't ever come in front of us again, which is what we're trying to hope for. All right, cool.
So, while we are, like we said, kind of moving away from having as many traditional process cases or full process cases, this is what our full process looks like. So it starts with an incident, and then that incident gets reported by the reporting party, whether that be like a professor, another faculty member, an RA or something. And then we will have an initial meeting with the respondent or the student. And then after that, we will start the investigation phase, which is with an investigating committee of members, which is 3 honor council members. And basically they'll do interviews with any relevant parties, the respondent themselves, any witnesses, and the reporting party as well. And using the information that they gather from those, they make a report. And then based on that report, it goes to a PAC or a panel authorization committee, which basically decides if there's sufficient information to bring the matter before a panel. And then should they decide yes, then it goes to a panel proceeding, which is traditionally 6 members in here or on Zoom. And basically we decide whether or not the student is responsible for the alleged violation. And then based on that, we decide on appropriate sanctions and the outcome of the case. So yeah, that is still kind of our baseline for the process, but we are incorporating some different off-ramps for alternative means of resolution. So this is just to give you an overview.
Yeah, this is basically the overview that we kind of start with, because this kind of, uses the more traditional format in the sense that, students are not accepting, if a respondent does not accept responsibility. The other off-ramps that Cindy mentioned, currently they do rely on the respondent accepting responsibility. That's kind of the whole mindset behind them. It's a less, formal, less adversarial conversation, but that's, specifically designed for they have to be in a place where they're ready for that as well. So that's why we kind of start out with this, because it's, the more traditional and, it's like, almost the sort of thing that you guys might have in mind. So that's why we usually start with this. And it's also true that this takes the most time, the most paperwork, and has the most parts to it. So that's kind of like why we, right. So on to some duties, casework. So as you can imagine, our casework load kicks up at midterms and final seasons, that being when exams are. Then there's also committee work. So we have some committees on council itself. So I believe right now those are orientation, faculty liaison, outreach, and cheer. I think rules, we didn't really have that this year, but I believe it's going to come back. Let's see, Mia, do you want to talk about what faculty? Do you want to talk about what your committee does?
Yeah,
from there.
so I'm staff development, which is otherwise known as cheer. Or I guess that's what it used to be known as. So I hosted a lot of like within council events, some little bonding opportunities. I also made the merch for this year, which Michelle is wearing. I was gonna wear mine, but then I realized that it wasn't a thing, so that was really disappointing. What was I saying? Oh, and then just I think this year we had formal. Last night we had like a movie night. We got pizza. So just I'm in charge of like fun stuff like that. So I guess I can't really speak to like faculty liaison and stuff like that, but they're also very cool.
Yeah. Sounds good. Let's see, Michelle, Gracie, do you guys want to talk about like some of the committee work that you guys have done?
I
What?
can talk, she's in Leah's,
Okay,
but I can talk about faculty liaison.
sure.
We're basically a committee that serves as like a resource for the faculty, because I know that a lot of faculty have like questions or like confusion on like what exactly like constitutes like a violation of the honor code. And especially with like AI these days, like there's a lot of confusion on how to go about handling violations of those sorts of cases. So we're in the process of kind of designing a new kind of pamphlet to summarize all the information for them. That's like basically what we've been doing so far, but we're just basically a resource for faculty and we help connect them with the student body.
That's good. Since we don't have some representatives here from our other groups, I can kind of talk about that. So orientation and outreach kind of share a lot of the same responsibilities. They kind of overlap. But basically, what they do is they kind of handle like the outreach events that we do to the student body. So if we wanted to like, for example, do an initiative that involves us tabling outside on Sadler Terrace, they'll be the ones who usually organize that for orientation and stuff. Usually the stuff related to the honor code and like the essential first year information or like the summer course that you guys had to fill out before you started your freshman year is something that orientation usually handles as well. They also kind of organize the logistics of the, honor pledge administration at the Wren building at this during orientation. And then in addition to that, we have weekly business meetings here, Sunday evenings. Those usually don't go that long. We're all students and we are aware of that, and we try to get everyone out as quickly as possible. The one thing that I will say up front is that especially because we're busy during midterms and final seasons, this is the kind of thing that we do expect you to make a priority. I think traditionally it's been the sort of thing where school first, this second, clubs third. So that's kind of where we've been with that, just because it's our duty to get this done in a speedy fashion. It does, that's kind of our job to our respondents as well. And then obviously, we happen to get busy when everyone is busy. So. That's good.
That brings us to our next point, which is professional development. So council is not only like an extracurricular activity, but you're behaving as a staff member. Essentially, you have access to records that only college staff members have. So it's very important that council work is prioritized and taken seriously. But in terms of opportunities, it is also a chance to develop professionally. While you are a student and you're learning very important and cool things in your classes, this is just another opportunity to develop and get important skills that will help you in any profession. Like we said, we have a large range of majors and everything, but I think everyone can kind of speak to the fact that council work has helped them in a lot of ways. So things that you will learn are such as critical thinking, written and verbal communication, like public speaking, and just even interacting with people one-on-one. I think those are skills can really grow by being part of council. Collaboration, working on a team, learning how to delegate and work within like a committee or within a group of other students for casework and things like that. This is also something that we're hoping to develop with conference opportunities. Before COVID, we used to go to basically a conference with our region for like student conduct and honor student leaders. So we're hoping to one day get back into doing something like that or something similar. But there are also other leadership opportunities within the council. We have our committees, and you can be a chair of your committee, or you can do something like executive board. We have a couple of positions in addition to co-chair, like chair of administration, chair of education, that can also really help you grow as a student leader. So
Yeah, I would say that this has definitely been one of like the best leadership and professional development activities that I've had on campus for sure. The fact that I've been co-chair is definitely something that that I'm going to put on my resume, and definitely something that I think I'm going to maybe talk about in any sort of future, job interview situation. Just a chance to really learn how to, like Sydney said, how to delegate responsibility, how to, how to oversee things, how to manage a budget. We don't exactly have a defined treasurer position, so co-chairs and committee chairs and exec board all work together to manage the budget. Just even the things is organizing logistics and planning, and doing all the conferences behind the scenes, and really thinking about what is my vision, where would I like this to be in like the next 6 months, the next year, and how do I execute all of that in terms of kind of thinking, and learning how to strategize, more of a longer term in advance. So I think it's really been a great experience. It's like I said, it's one of the best professional development activities that I've had. So if that's, yeah, so if, these next slides are kind of more of our pitch to you about why you should join, if the first session was more information. Right, so like Sydney said, we are college officials. We have access to sensitive records that usually only administrators have access to. We operate under the FERPA Act. We operate under CVRP. That means a number of things. Understandably, you can imagine why, it would not be the greatest situation if anyone of us was to be, found doing, was basically, let's put it this way, made a fool of themselves. That's kind of why we have a no fake IDs rule. That said, it's like not something that Sydney and I go around enforcing. It's definitely, that's not who we are. That's not what we want to be. That's definitely more of a, we definitely feel like, if that's what we had to do, what's kind of the point of having student governance? So like nobody's checking any of that stuff. Nobody's, watching what you do outside of, this meeting and this space. That's really all up to you guys. So I think that's, definitely, it's something that is there, but like, it's not like we're monitoring you guys. That's not what we do.
Just in general, behaving honorably as any student is expected to do, but especially as a council member, we value things like privacy. Like FERPA just basically means that you can't discuss student records with anyone. You can't mention names of people that you've seen in reports. That's not appropriate. If you are looking at like sensitive information on your laptop, make sure that you're in like a private area where people can't like read off your screen, or if you're in a meeting, like make sure people can't hear you and stuff. But yeah, just in general, this is professional development, and this is your chance to be a leader on campus. So we expect members to conduct themselves accordingly.
Yeah. So, right. So what do weeks kind of look like? So on Sundays, we have usually committee meetings before our business meeting, but committee meetings can really be scheduled anytime that's convenient for like a committee. There's not any set requirement, and there's no requirement that committees have to meet every week. And then 7:30 to 8:15 is our business meetings. That's mandated for 40. We schedule those for 45 minutes. I would say that most of them don't get to be that length. Like I said, we try to get them out. And then caseloads, as we've said, really kind of vary. There may be like weeks and weeks where you guys have nothing at all. And then there may be weeks when like we get 3 or 4 dumped on us in the space of a week. So it's really up in the air and it really varies. Just say that, if you have a case this week, right, then maybe on Tuesday you have a meeting with a professor, and that might take about 30 to 45 minutes, especially with compiling the report afterwards, or helping the chair to compile the report afterwards. And then let's say you do have a panel proceeding on a week, then this one, I think about 3 hours is maybe a standard time. But again, as I've said, we don't really have very many panel proceedings. I think last year we managed to have just 9 all in total. So they are like, so they do take chunks of time out. That's really that, but I can say that it's not like, something that goes on every week. They're pretty rare of things.
Yeah. On a week like this week, your schedule will probably be a little more than this, but then on an average week in the middle of the semester, it might not even be this busy. So it really just depends. So for eligibility, applicants must have a GPA above 2.5. This does not include freshmen coming in with their high school GPA. We know that you probably don't have, well, you don't have any exams back right now, but even by the time that you submit your application, you might not have all of your exams in. And then we are accepting applications for 27, 26, and 25. So freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. All the numbers get confusing. But basically, if you, we go by the calendar year with our applications, not with the school year. So that's a little confusing. So basically you'll enter your term as a freshman, for example, and then by the time your next term rolls around, you'll be exiting as a sophomore, if that makes sense. And then it is expected for potential applicants to be on campus for both semesters of their term. So if you're planning on studying abroad for a semester, then you would be considered ineligible because casework is a big commitment and we need people that are going to be available, and it's hard to get in touch with people when they're in different time zones and things. So if you are planning on studying abroad and you'd still like to apply, feel free to ask us some questions and we can chat with you. But it's a basic requirement that you remain on campus.
Yep.
And also no prior record of serious honor or conduct offenses. There is a section in our application. If you do have disciplinary history, we give you a chance to kind of talk about it if you'd like to share information with us. If you feel that it should not affect your ability to apply for honor council, we want to hear your take on that whole situation. So
I don't believe that last one should apply to any of you guys, but and then as for the remaining on campus part, so that is for like the semesters, but the summer, you know, we had plenty of people study abroad or do other things abroad this summer. So it's not it's not like we have a total ban on, studying abroad. We just, prefer like for the semesters. So, so for spring and fall semesters on campus, but like summer break, winter break, those are perfectly fine to go ahead and still do study abroad stuff. So application information. So new members have a resume. I believe there's some short answer questions, a case study. There's some questions based off of that. And then I believe one recommendation. So that can be from an OA, an RA, a professor, current honor council member, someone from your high school, a future, a former teammate if you want. So that's basically that. I think all the links to that should be at the end of this slideshow, and they should also be on, I believe, our website and in our Instagram Linktree bio. So they're in a bunch of different places. Returning members have their resume, 5 short answer questions, a reflection, and a recommendation.
Feel free to scan these QR codes if you'd like right now and like bookmark it, or we'll be sure to send like follow-up emails with the links and everything. So there will be plenty of places to find them.
Right. Applications are due Wednesday, the 25th of January. So that, is not, that's obviously a while away. So that obviously gives you time to finish your finals, get all that stuff done before you need to really worry about applying. It would certainly not be very fair of us to schedule this for like the end of December when you guys are still in finals. Interviews are right now scheduled for the 30th to the 5th. And then training and inductions are the same day on Sunday, February 11th. And then we will have a small reception after the induction ceremony. So basically if you plan on applying, please do keep your calendars clear on Saturday, February 11th. But that's that for right now. And then again, we will post when the application is due. That should be on our website, and we will post that as well and follow-up emails too.
Sam, I think those dates are from last year.
No, the 25th, 2023, yes, but we changed the rest of them. So
Okay.
The 11th is for this cycle. So, all right.
So, you guys just scanned the QR code, but get ready for another one. You can scan the one at the bottom just to indicate your attendance tonight, so we know who to send, more application information to. And yeah, the link trees up there is just Linktree/Honor Council. That's in our Instagram and everything. Yeah, there are 2 separate applications for returning members and new members. Y'all know that. Like Sam said, we're recording this meeting, so we can also attach the recording so that if you guys have questions, you can check it and look back. And yeah, I think that's really all the substantive information that we have to cover. Do you guys have any questions or anything?
Do you guys have any preference in the recommendation? Like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter as long as someone can, speak to your character, what would make you a good fit for something like this.
Okay.
Yeah, just someone that you know well.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you guys are free to go if you'd like, or stick around and you can ask questions too. We'll be having another info session tomorrow night, but we're gonna be covering the same information, so if you have friends or coworkers or family members who would like to learn more, they can come. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.